Thank you, everybody. Now I'm delighted to introduce Lori Black with Lincoln Formal Wear. Did I get the name of the company right?
No, but I can say it.
Okay, she'll correct me. She's been in the news a lot. She's been on TV, been in the newspaper, so she's kind of famous before she even got here, but we're going to make her even more famous on our YouTube channel. So, Lori, thank you for being here, and we're all excited to hear about your new business.
Thank you for inviting me. And as he said, I was invited for my new business, although I have done a lot of things. And I thought I would start out by just kind of giving you a little bit about my background and some of the things I've done and why I really consider myself a serial entrepreneur. I'm from Lincoln. I went to the University of Nebraska, majored in journalism. So my real career, I like to say, was as a reporter, a newspaper reporter. I was a wire service editor for United Press International for a long time. My last journalism job was up in the Milwaukee area with the Waukesha Freeman. I worked as a reporter there. But at least for me, journalism is one of those types of jobs where you do it for a while and you're done. You feel like you've done it long enough. I know there are a lot of people who've done journalism for their whole career, but for me, I was ready to move on to something else. After I moved back from Wisconsin in 2000, I got a job at the University of Nebraska and worked there for about 10 years. And I don't know if it was my job at the university, which was a little bit on the boring side, that made me become an entrepreneur. But I'm going to back up a second. My first remembrance of doing my own business, and I guess I always just kind of wanted to do my own thing and not have a boss and not have to go to an 8-to-5 job. My first remembrance of doing this was in the 1980s. My family bought a camcorder. You might remember these huge camcorders. Those of you who are younger won't remember this, but it was a VCR, and the VCR split in two, and you took half the VCR with you and you attached it to the big camcorder, which sat on your shoulder, and you walked around with this big VCR on your shoulder. And we had one of those, and I thought, let's make some money with this. So I recruited my siblings, and we started videotaping weddings. I put up a booth at a bridal fair and advertised wedding video for $100. And we got a little bit of a business doing that. After a wedding or two where the sound didn't record and things went wrong, we decided, let's get out of this business, because we had to tell these brides, sorry, here's your video, but there's no sound on it. And then, of course, it was the kind of thing where it was the VHS tape, and you take it out of the recorder and you hand it over. There's no editing or anything. It was very primitive. So from there, I just went on with my journalism career, moved to Wisconsin, moved back, started with the university, a little bit bored in the job, and I stumbled upon a business opportunity, and I said, this sounds really fun, and nobody else is doing it. I'll do it. And it was speed dating. I opened a speed dating business in Lincoln and Omaha, and for probably 10 years, maybe. I started this in 2002. Myself and my boyfriend at the time, we ran speed dating parties, and we got tons of singles to come to these things, and a lot of people got engaged and married as a result of our speed dating parties. We expanded it into Sioux City, Iowa, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's going really well for a long time. And then toward the end, it just kind of burned itself out. We were really struggling to get people to come. At the very end, I was just saying, come for free, and if you like it, give a donation. And even that was hard when we were not attracting what we needed to do. So by this time, we were married, and we just decided it's time to stop this. So I was still working at the university at this time, and during the time I was doing speed dating, I learned my brother had resurrected the wedding video business. And actually, I named the business called Moments in Time Video. And he took that name, and he was doing Moments in Time Video. And I was still bored in my job, and I said, I'll help you do this. This sounds fun. I like weddings. So we started doing wedding video. After a couple years of doing that, I said, let's make it more of a well-rounded business, a bigger business. Let's add photography to this. I had some photography courses in high school and college, and through my journalism I did a little bit of photography. But basically, I was a photographer, he was a videographer, although I helped doing video. And I just taught myself everything I did. I knew. I studied a lot online. I asked friends if I could take their pictures for free. I did my cousin's daughter's wedding. That was my very first one. I look back on those pictures and they were hideous. But I became a wedding photographer. And as part of the wedding photography, I also did some portraits, senior portraits, families, a little bit of that. And I still do that to this day. It's now called Lori Black Photography. I do probably 10 to 20 weddings a year. Still do some portrait photography, still do wedding video. My brother is still involved. He's more of a helper as opposed to an owner in the business. So that's another business that I have done. Along with this, during this process, I wish I could pinpoint years. I don't remember even the year I started photography. I do know the year I started real estate. 2010, I was working for the University of Nebraska still, and the department I was in was undergoing some problems. They were going to be cutting people. My husband had been involved in real estate because he has families and has a real estate background. He got involved in real estate, although he teaches full time. So he was doing it on the side. He was getting to the point where he was getting some business and he had to do it during the day, but he was teaching during the day. So I thought, I'll just jump into the real estate business and help him. My first thought was I'll keep my job at the university. But as I got into the real estate studying, I realized, I can't do a good job with real estate and have a full-time job at the same time. So I quit my job at the university. I was not sad about that, but I learned actually that my job was going to be cut anyway, so I feel it was the right decision. Went into real estate, and I was still doing photography at this time. Well, the video, actually the photography came later. But so I was doing real estate and the photography/video. Real estate went really well, and I'm a realtor to this day. I work for Woods Brothers. I don't really consider myself a full-time realtor, but I do what I can. So now on to this new business. I didn't really need a new business doing photography and real estate, but this opportunity presented itself to me, and I thought it was something I couldn't pass up. And one of the reasons for that is because nobody else was doing it. And this was one reason now I did speed dating is no one else is doing it. And although I like real estate and I love real estate, I love doing photography, there are hundreds of people out there doing it. The nice thing about this new business I'm doing, and I'm still going to do now I have 3 businesses, nobody else is doing it. And how this all started, there was a woman in rural Palmyra, actually in the middle of nowhere. I have to go down these dirt roads to get to her house. She was offering formal dresses out of her home. And I rented a couple of her dresses for a photography shoot one night. And she had a really cool setup. You go down to her basement, dresses all over the place. It was just a beautiful place. She posted on Facebook 2-3 months ago that her husband got a job in northern Nebraska. They were moving. She was taking her dress business with her to northern Nebraska. And I thought, well, that's too bad. And I went to a real estate meeting, and another realtor, who knows this woman too, said to me, somebody in Lincoln should do that. And I said, yeah, somebody should. So it was, a week or 2 later, I don't even know what I was doing. It was just, the idea just popped into my head. Well, why don't I do it? I think there's a definite need for this. Right now, the only options women have for formal wear is to go buy it at a store. And if you've done any shopping, you could spend hundreds of dollars on a dress, and then you're going to buy it, and you hang it in the closet, and you never wear it again. It's particularly popular for girls going to homecoming, high school girls, prom. I've heard stories from mothers. I went and bought this dress for $400, and she wore it to prom once, and now it's sitting in my closet. I don't know what to do with it. I tried to sell it, nobody will buy it. So that's kind of the reason why I decided to get into this yet another business. I talked to the woman in Palmyra who was moving away, asked her if I could buy up to 200 of her dresses, because she said she was going to sell some of them. And she said, no, I don't want to sell that many. So actually when she said that, I said, okay, forget it, I'm not going to do this. A couple days went by and she contacted me and said, well, I'll sell you 100 of the dresses, and $5 each. So I said, okay, this is my sign that I'm supposed to do this. So I went and I bought 100 of her dresses for $5 each. Then she called me back a week later and says, I have 50 more dresses for you. I'll sell for $10 each. So I went and got those. So after I did that, I was committed. I had to start doing this business. And I knew I couldn't do it with just 150 dresses, because the thing about this, you have to have all sizes. You have to have tiny sizes, you have to have big sizes. You have to have a bunch of different styles, because I had to have short dresses for homecoming, long dresses for prom, and whatever else. So I started shopping. I just went online primarily to some sites I found on my own. I didn't know anything about how to do any of this. I just started investigating. Found a couple of sites where I could buy some dresses for relatively low cost, and I got them, and I thought, these are pretty nice. So I bought more, and been buying more and more and more. And then there's a store in Lincoln called the Black Swan Dress Boutique on 70th and Pioneer. I went in there kind of incognito. I didn't want them to know what I was doing, because I thought maybe they would consider me competition. I just kind of looked at the dresses, and I was seeing price tags of $300 and $400, and I thought, these would really, really be cool to have, but I can't spend, this much on one dress. Then I heard he was going to be doing a sale, selling dresses for $199. I thought, well, maybe I could buy one or two, and went in again. I went in 2 or 3 times, never told him what I was doing, and just pretended like I was shopping for dresses. Finally, I went in and I confessed what I was doing. And he was like really supportive of what I was doing. He knew Barb, the person who did this in Palmyra, and he thought it was great. He told me, you know what, we're closing. We're going to be closing our business. And I'm going to sell all these dresses at a discount. So a lot of my dresses have come from there. I bought the last ones I bought, short dresses. He enabled me to buy $300 dresses for $25.
Whoa.
So I now have, I need to count actually, I now have about over 400 dresses. Black Swan is closing this coming weekend. I'm going to go buy more. He's going to have me buy some long dresses at a discount. So basically all these are in my basement. I've had people coming over every day, sometimes 3 and 4 people or 5 people, groups of people a day. Last Saturday I had 5 girls in there at once, all trying on dresses. They're going into the bedrooms. I have a room divider to try on. I don't have a real dressing room. They're going into the bathroom to try on. And I've rented quite a few already. Which brings me to the snag that recently occurred this week. Everything was going along very smoothly. I had appointments coming up, because this is homecoming season. Knock on my door, and it was a guy from, and some of you who might know about this, I'd be interested in your insight. Guy from Building and Safety Department knocked on my door and said, you can't do this. He said, you can have a home-based business, but you can't have clients coming in and out. I said, did somebody complain? Yes. Who? Oh, I don't know. But this came down from the mayor's office, whatever that means. And I think it was because I called the newspaper and I called the TV stations, because I thought it was a unique business, because I figured I needed to get the word out about this business. I called the schools. They wouldn't let me put up posters because it's a commercial business. So I was thankful that the TV and the newspaper thought it was a worthwhile story. That brought in tons of business, tons of interest. I just started, ever since those appeared, I started getting all these calls, all these messages on Facebook. So I think that contributed to the city coming over and saying, I can't do this. And I said, well, what about all these other home-based businesses that have clients, like Mary Kay businesses? They have home-based, they have parties in their home. What about those? He didn't know what to say. He didn't have a good answer. I know there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Lincoln doing home-based business, seeing clients in their home, massage therapists. There's a woman I know who sold clothing out of her basement. She actually turned her garage into a clothing store, and I was over there once. So I called her up. I said, did the city ever come knocking at your door and tell you you couldn't do this? She said no. She said she knows she could write a full page of people who she knows who does this sort of thing. So I got nailed. I felt like telling the guy, you shut these other businesses down, then you could shut me down. So basically he just told me I have to find a retail space. I said, I don't want to go out and spend hundreds of dollars a month with this brand new business, not knowing how much money I'm going to be making. So something somewhat fortunate happened. Well, I'm hoping it's fortunate. I talked to this woman who owns 402 and Beyond, the one who is doing it, selling clothes out of her house. She now has a retail space. So I called her up and said, did you have this trouble? No, not at all. But I have a back room that I'd be happy to rent you for $50 to $100 a month that you could set up. So I went over and looked at it yesterday, and though it's a little small, I'm going to set up there. So I'm not going to have it, which is actually, I think there's going to be advantages to having retail space as opposed to having it in my home. And I have 2 little dogs. Every time somebody come over, they're barking their heads off at these people, and I have to keep them, separate. So I also think people are going to be more comfortable coming to a store as opposed to somebody's home to look for dresses. But I've had, like I said, all kinds of high school girls. I had a woman come over who wanted a dress for a wedding, her stepson's wedding. So I don't want to limit it to just high school girls. I want it to be for adult women as well who might need a formal dress for a wedding or whatever reason. There are formal events all over the place that people need formal dresses, and so I did this to give opportunity to women, because men have tuxedo rental shops, although I don't know how many of them wore tuxes anymore. Women had nothing. Their only choices was where to go buy something. So that's my talk. I guess I can answer questions.
So what does it cost to rent a dress? And then does the person who rents it, do they have to clean it before they return it, or how does that all work?
I have some very inexpensive dresses that I got for very low cost, and you could look at them. They're very simple. They're not real top quality dresses. I rent for as low as $10. My really high-end designer dresses that I bought from Black Swan, I rent for $100 to $110. But they can go buy this dress for $400 or $500, or they can come and rent it for me for $100. What would they rather do? As far as the cleaning, I'm going to do the cleaning for them. A lot of these dresses, at least the plainer ones, I found I could just hand wash or machine wash. My nicer designer dresses, I'll have dry cleans. So. But I take care of that.
What about, do you allow alterations to a dress they're renting?
Yes and no. There have been people come over and it's too long, or it needs to be taken in, or the straps are too long. I work with a woman who does alterations, and I'll take care of that with them. I'm just having them altered temporarily. So if they need to be let out again, I can do that. Monty?
How do you compete with the online drop ship?
Yeah, you can buy online, and sometimes you can. I still think even online is going to cost you more. But the thing about online is you buy your size, you get it, it might not fit. Some sizes vary so much. People coming over to my place, I'm a size 8, but yet here they can they could put it on a size 6 and it fits, or size 8 is too big. So you just don't know for sure. It's a risk.
I heard of some gals renting online.
There's a place called Rent the Runway where you can. I think it's a subscription service. Well, they'll send you clothes and
they send you 4 sizes. You find the one that fits, and then you send it back.
Yeah, I don't know how many people really want to do that, but yeah. Again, you're getting it online, and yeah.
What forms of advertising have worked the best for you so far?
I've done some Facebook advertising, and that's pretty much all I've done. And then the media attention. Yeah.
So Lori, what is the actual name of your business?
Oh, Lincoln Formal Rental by Lori. I wanted to get Lincoln in there. I wanted to get formal rental in there for SEO purposes. So I made it kind of a simple name, and I thought, well, my name needs to be in there too. So that's why I put in by Lori.
You were really discriminating against, it sounds like, in your business. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of other businesses in town that have people come to their house to do business, and it just doesn't sound fair.
I know. And I want to ask you if any of you knew what the actual rules were in Lincoln, because why are people getting away with it, and why aren't they going after these other businesses? He told me that I can not have employees, which I don't, and I cannot see clients in my home. So.
I'm not sure that's accurate.
It's complaint driven.
Yeah, it is definitely
It is
complaint
definitely.
driven.
Someone in your neighborhood probably didn't like the cars.
Probably, that's what I'm guessing. I have a grumpy neighbor down the street. I think it might have been him. So.
Didn't like your dog.
I think that, seemingly chaotic situations, as hurtful as they can be sometimes, and I think in your situation will be a blessing in disguise. You're now in a retail space,
Yep.
You're working with somebody who's been in the clothing business, and I see I think in my life I've seen some situations that have really been a blessing in disguise. I think, I think there's a lot in store going forward, and like you said, hey, people are gonna come to a a retail place, and it really forces you to now think about, hey, how am I going to scale the business up?
Yeah.
So my question is, what's in store next for your business? Are we going to see like pictures online on a website where people can start clicking and, you know, what's next?
I have several pictures of dresses on my website, although not all of them. I think what I need to do though is take pictures of all of them and list them by size, because right now I said, here are my sizes 10 to 20, here are my sizes 0 to 8. Just because I haven't had time to, with all my other businesses, I haven't had time to take a picture of each individual dress and separate it according to size. But at some point I hope to do that. I'm going to try the retail space. I think it's a great opportunity. My only concern is if it's going to be big enough. But I'm just going to do the best I can. And if it doesn't work after a while, I might have to look for a real space of my own.
Your friend that has Black Swan is closing down. Does he have a remainder lease he needs to get on?
Does he have a remainder of what?
Lease that he's ended?
No, his lease expires in October.
Okay, otherwise, I was going to say there may be an opportunity.
That would be a great one thing, it's too big for me and it's too expensive. It's like $3,000 a month. So I know I can't do that.
Have you ever heard of Miss Amazing?
No.
So it's a pageant-based nonprofit organization for women and girls with disabilities. They do like a pageant each year. I was a fundraising coordinator for it. Your dress company would be fantastic to talk to with them. They do one pageant a year. The girls get to pick out the pageant wear. They do like usually a formal dress and then like a casual dress. Basically to highlight these girls. I definitely think that would be
that would sound
something
good.
to check out. And it was founded here. There's 37 states now that participate in Miss Amazing, and it started here in Nebraska. So.
There's actually a business organization called Cinderella's Closet. It's I think it's a national thing, and there are branches in several cities where it's a business kind of like mine, where lower income girls can come and pick out a dress, I think for free, to wear for prom or whatever. I looked into that. The woman didn't call me back, and I thought, you know, it'd be nice to do that, but I need to make money. I need to make my money. I have thousands of dollars into these dresses. I need to make my money back. So, yeah. Yes.
How did you finance then?
Credit cards. Although I did just work with the Business Development Resources, and I did just get a small loan that I'm going to actually get today to come buy some more dresses.
Do you require like a deposit on some of these dresses, or how does that work?
Yeah, for the nicer dresses, I'm asking for a 20% deposit, just to cover the cost of if they bring it back damaged, or somebody just this last week brought back a skirt that had a big spot on it. Took it to the cleaners. She said it looked like grease. Didn't know it was going to come out. I was a little concerned. It did come out, but if zippers break, things like that. So, yeah. But if they bring it back fine, they'll get the deposit back.
Might have a month-to-month solution on your next size up.
That would be good. I'll have to talk to you. Yeah, I thought as far as getting a space, I know a retail storefront with people visible would be nice, but I don't want to spend that money right now. So I thought maybe just getting an office space and let people know where it is. But I think what I have is going to work for now, unless I outgrow it, because I'm sure I'm going to keep getting more dresses. I'm getting a lot of people call and want to donate their dresses that that their daughters wore for prom and they don't know what to do with. Some have actually offered to sell them to me, and I did that at first, but I'm now just saying I'm just taking donations only. So.
Do you operate on appointment only, or do you have office hours?
Yeah, since I was doing that at my home, it was appointment only. Now in this shop, I don't want to commit myself to go to this place every day, not knowing if anybody's coming over. So I'm still planning on being appointment only during the busy season. I know prom is going to be a really busy season, but my plans are just to go hang out there and say I'm open these hours, come and go as you please, and see how that goes. So. But outside the busy hours, I'll just still do appointment only.
So you know who your competition is right now, right? Nobody.
Yeah.
That's
what I like about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned I like doing something nobody else is doing.
Other questions for Lori? If not, Lori, thank you so much for being here. That was tremendous. We've got a gift for you for being here today. I want to thank you for your time and for bringing donuts. Here's a Focus Sweet mug.
Thank you.
feel free to come back and visit us any Thursday you're available.
Okay.
And feel free to hang around after coffee, come up and talk to Lori, ask her more questions, meet somebody new before you leave, exchange business cards. You're welcome to hang around up here as long as you like. So.
And I do have business cards if anybody wants any. I guess I haven't put them out at the donut table yet, but I can do that. So.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week.